The first story for today comes from Carefully6685 on the subreddit Today I Messed Up. It says that it was a mistake to watch the Maury show with my dad today. The effects are still being felt even though it was a week ago. On this day that I was off, my dad worked from home. In the middle of watching Maury, my dad walked into the room with some folded clothes. After he asked to watch with me, we finished the show in the living room. They were talking about how the 2 adults and 2 children all had big ears. The test made the man a fatherless child. When my dad looked at my ears, he saw that they were not linked like his were. The show probably kept us busy for 3 hours. I found out later that everyone in my family except me had ears that were linked. My dad looked at me more and seemed less interested in my mother. He almost never talked to her, unless he didn't agree with her. To put things in perspective, I'm the middle child and my hair is straighter and darker than everyone else's. This makes me stand out a bit in family photos, more like a gray sheep than a black sheep. He lost it yesterday and ordered that a DNA ancestry test be done. He had bought just 2 for the 2 of us. I gave him the test right away because he has never cried in front of me. I told him I wouldn't tell my mom, and he promised to love me, no matter what. My parents didn't come to the hospital until I was born. I also know that my parents got back together because of me, even though I was a surprise. Once more. The most surprising thing is that my dad never gets upset or even cries. I'm crying because I see how scared and sad he is. Bebidden writes on the back of this one, Dad must have had doubts the whole time. Don't let the results change your family. Dad is the person who raised you, even if he's not your real dad. Well, it's not Sincere Clamhack replies, but if he's not your biological dad, then that changes the dynamics. Stephen explained, I've known this guy since 1965. And he only found out 2 or 3 years ago that the man who raised him wasn't his real dad. This happened after his father passed a 23andMe style test. His point of view was amazing. It didn't hurt the close relationship he has with his dad, and I'm sure it made some feelings clear. EWR Boogie says, I met someone who was in the same situation. Even though there were a few possible reasons for what happened, when he looked into the man who seemed to be his father online, he found that he was in charge of a company where his mother worked. He came to the conclusion that it would be better to forget about the details. He called the man, who he had always thought of as his father, to find out if there was any medical background he should know about. A thorough account says that the idea that connected vs. detached earlobes is genetic, that is, that it is controlled by a single gene instead of a group of genes, is false. Several things interacting with each other is not logical. Earlobe genetics is too complicated to be summed up in such a simple way. I'm sorry you 2 are having these issues, but it's true that an urban legend has made you both angry. I have actually heard of urban legend before. Not that I said it on a talk show or anything, but gives us an update after a month and says sorry for keeping us waiting. No matter what happens, he is my dad. There was a lot of stress in the house after the test was sent. My mom and little brother didn't understand why it wasn't planned. In the past 2 weeks there has been less stress and things have gotten better. In a sense, the spirit is coming back. My dad told me he didn't care about the results and would only look at them if I asked him to, when the results came in. As I said, we've already had to wait this long. He promised to change no matter what happened. What's wrong is that my dad and older brother were shown right away when we took our ancestry test. He came over on Monday. In secret, I had used Ancestry, and he asked me why. Just now, I said I wanted to know how much of a minority I was. He laughed and turned to leave. He may have seen my dad or my dad may have seen him on there. I did not see or hear them talk about it. But why ask? What does it matter now? One more thing Opie wrote below. At the time, my parents were getting a divorce and I was the reason they got back together. If I knew what my dad was worried about, I would have tested a long time ago. My parents have been linked to a lot of different people, so I can see how one of them could cheat while they were off. But who cares? Who cares about who is linked to whom? Does anyone care about what happened? I still think the same things. Nothing has changed or will change. Biggest plot twist, your father has other kids, was the usual answer. Some people thought it was crazy that all of this happened on the back of a TV show. Some saying they could see things from the father's point of view in this case. What? But what about you? What do you think it means? Tell us what you think in the area below for comments. Now let's read the next story. The second story comes from Happy Philosophy 977 on the Am I the Jerk Here subreddit. They want to know if it's okay for them to keep their promise to their boyfriend's dog and not share their lottery winnings. Why is that? My name is Janet and I'm 26 years old. I got about $50,000 in the lottery. Before I won, my 29-year-old boyfriend and I joked about what we would do if I ever got famous. It would be shared by him, me, and Baxter, his dog. Even though I love my golden dog Baxter, I've always thought he was a joke. But now that I've really won, My boyfriend really wants me to give Baxter his fair share of the money. I promised him that Baxter would have $10,000 set away in a dog trust fund for toys, future medical bills, and other things he needs. I told him that was crazy. Baxter doesn't need a trust fund because he's a dog. Right now, my partner is saying that I'm selfish and that I broke my promise. It's not the dog, he says, but my broken promises and lack of dedication to our relationship. Really? More than a dog? Things start to get weird now. I did spend some of the money on a nice dog bed and some pretty pricey treats for Baxter. But my partner says it doesn't matter because it wasn't part of the official $10,000 that I turned in. Said he was going to promise. They even talked about getting a lawyer to set up the dog trust fund and make the deal official. I feel like I'm in the twilight. Even though I may have only meant to joke, am I the bad guy because I'm not giving a real dog a piece of my lottery winnings? Or is this whole thing just silly? Now, since you said at the start that the money should be split 3 ways, I think you were giving him some of it. Please don't tell me otherwise. 2/3 of the money you make goes to him. After that stupid manipulation he tried to pull to get more money from you, I would not give anything to this motherfucker, says Left Science. Girl, tell him to beat the sand with his dog. Please do this. Baxter has nothing to do with this. Baxter doesn't know what's going on. Okay, Happy says, I think it's crazy that he thinks this is normal behavior. For the record, I'm not in favor of giving Baxter the money. I never thought that I would have to fight for myself in a relationship with a dog trust fund. I'm so mad at him right now that I'm thinking about breaking up with him. Even though I like Baxter, I didn't sign up to be a dog bank. Cinnamon Blue says you made a mistake when you told your partner you had won. I really thought that telling each other the good news would be a happy time for us, but now I feel like I've started a huge can of worms. OPI replies, I might not be having to deal with this crazy situation if I hadn't told anyone. I'm scared I will never be able to tell him something important again. Does anyone else have a story like this about a strange encounter? Brave Custom says, not the jerk, how long has this person been in your life? Something is very off about this, and he seems to be after money. Lots of people say that money doesn't make people better or worse, it just shows who they really are. It makes sense to me. What will he be like in the future? Big red flag. There's been 2 years of dating, and I have never seen this side of him. I hope he says that. He turned on the light as soon as I won, and now he acts like I owe his dog a huge amount of money. Of cash. After all, it's not his money. So why does he act like it's normal? In fact, I ask myself that question. What would happen if we talked about our financial plans for the future while he was already acting weird around Baxter? Should I also save money for his goldfish for bad times? What the hell are you talking about? I don't understand Cute92, who says don't be an asshole, so I'm going to take a chance and say that your partner thinks of his dog as his share. Also, the $10,000 that was spent on medical bills will probably be used for something else. They will tell you it's for the dog. Was really angry that someone would think a dog would take what is. It's pretty much a trust fund, unless the dog made some kind of unwritten deal with his paw. The original post says that I, a 26-year-old woman, finally talked to my 29-year-old partner about this silly problem with a dog trust fund after giving it some thought. I told him straight out that I like Baxter, but I think it's crazy to give $10,000 to a dog. I can't believe it's become such a big issue in our relationship. What did he say? He put everything on the line. It was clear that it was all about the money, but he kept saying it wasn't. Only the dum-da-dum-dum sounds matter. And that faith and my broken promises are what really matter here. He did that. That's when I lost it. I asked myself, how can he trust me to keep my word about bigger things if I can't even keep this promise about a dog? I told him that after dating for 2 years, I can't believe he's acting this way and that a lot of red flags have been raised. I told him straight out that we're breaking up because his values are so off. He's acting so strangely about something so silly that I can't imagine having to deal with bigger problems in the future. Instead of taking what I said into account, he got angry and accused me of breaking his trust. Even though I'm shocked by how things turned out, I think the breakup was bound to happen because of how he's been acting. I broke up with someone after 2 years because of a dog trust fund. Am I the bad person? Or is this really as crazy as it looks? That's not the jerk, that much is clear. But how do you feel about this, guys? Wow, what a blessing. Please say what you think in the place below, and then let's talk about another story. Am I overreacting is the next story from the Am I Overreacting thread. Majornu 906's wife went to a friend's party in a skimpy costume. My wife and I have been dating for 2 years, and things are generally good between us. That's a good start, isn't it? I can understand why she wants to wear revealing clothes. She's worked hard to tone her body and is very sure of herself. But the bikini she got shown off a lot more when I saw it. Greater than any piece of clothing she has ever owned. I always feel bad. But I choose to accept it because I'm not trying to trick her in any way. It's one of those bikinis that fits more closely, like a thong. It doesn't help that she lost weight. By that measure, she can show her whole behind if she even slightly bends over. It doesn't really cover her butthole, though. This woman stood out because no one else at the party wore a bikini like that. Many of the men around us were getting angry, so I asked her if she could put on a towel while we were drinking. That's when the heat started. Because I didn't want to fight, I let it go. Later, when we all went into the pool, I was one of the drunk people there. I tried to fix her too small bikini over and over, but the string kept coming apart. In that situation, things were terrible. When we got home, I got really mad and said some things that made her mad. She said that if I was scared, I was not safe, that someone could see her body, and that I couldn't change what she wore. Everything is perfect except for one small thing, so I don't know how to feel or what to do. It's easy for it to make me jealous. Even though I tried not to feel uncomfortable about how she looked, I didn't want her to be almost naked in front of so many of her friends, as well as her husbands and lovers. Someone told Op that he needed to be clear with his wife in order to get attention, and Op said that we were. Even though I told her how I felt, it looks like she doesn't get it. She keeps telling me I'm not safe, and that I'm the only one who has a problem. It doesn't make me think that at all, since she doesn't seem to want attention. I want to understand this point of view, but it seemed so harsh, and it made me feel not at all comfortable. It's possible that most of the guys there were wrong. In general, we don't take our problems too seriously, but I've never seen anything like this. Some people say that Op should respect his wife's right to be free to move around. The OP says, I'm so proud of her she can wear whatever she wants, but I never thought I'd be in that situation. I felt bad that the other guys were looking into her. I have no idea why. This is how I'm trying to think, and I appreciate your comments. During the whole time we've been dating, she always shows off to me. I want to know if she's really crossed the line because she's never done it before. I might be being a jerk, but I'm not sure. I think it was an accident, but it makes me feel bad about myself. She should have paid attention, I told her, and I was right, the bikini would mess up her outfit. I also said I didn't like how every guy in the room could see everything. She says that her activities aren't safe because she didn't mean for them to happen. The trouble is that it's strange because we've never seen or heard anything like it before. That's not because I want to be nervous. It's awful that so many guys were able to look at her that way. I guess that makes me jealous. I didn't want to be that guy. Especially when you know that every man there is thinking about something. I look up to her. It's true that she owns her body, but I've never been through anything like that. I don't know how to feel or. Since this happened so quickly, please answer. I just think that drinking and not being aware that a bikini was sometimes falling down went too far. Even though it doesn't bother me much, I can't help but feel jealous. Douchebags love to make this joke. It's hard for me to want to go to another party with these people. It's hard because our friends make jokes and comments about it at first, even though I'm trying not to freak out. It might be hard to say no when everyone is happy and smiling, but I want to stop it all. The girls kept making fun of you by saying, just take that off right now. I try to pull her away from me. Fix things. But there was no real way to fix it. The OP then tells us what's new. I posted on this site a few days ago about a problem I was having with my wife of 2 years, and unfortunately we still can't agree on how to fix it. So we could both rest. She went to stay with her mother for 2 days after our fight that night. When she got back, we talked about it, and she told me she just wanted to show off how hard she had worked. She was proud of her body. That is, not for anyone else but herself. Once more, I tried to explain why I didn't like it when she showed our friends her body, but she keeps calling me bossy and insecure. In the fight, she brought our friends in, and they automatically agree with her, telling her it was all a joke and calling her out on it. Of course, since it hasn't happened to them, they find it funny. Everyone tells me to forget about it, but I can't. It's too embarrassing, and the way my wife acts about it doesn't help. A lot of people who responded to my first post said she was wrong, and even think about letting her go. Even though I think it's mean, I want her to know how I feel. This was way too much of an exaggeration, and it could lead to divorce. Just really feel bad about it. It's making me crazy to think about all the things I think I know about this event. It seems likely that she was trying to show someone specific because she has friends who work there, but all I've heard from her about them is that they don't seem to be interesting to anyone. Kindness, on the other hand, asks me to trust her. Because, as I said, we've never had to deal with something like this before. There's a good chance that this bond is deeper than what we can see right now. You may remember that the op said that after 2 years of dating, everything is fine between us. When you start a post like that, things are really cool. For this one, I feel like I will be stuck in the mud like an old stick. First, I want to say that I agree with body acceptance and all the good things that come with it. I'm going to pretend to be someone else at that party, though, and it will be very awkward. If someone acts like a jerk there. I agree that everyone should love their body, but please don't show me your butthole. Not only does Beef Stew say in the notes that none of us were there, but I would say that it's not about what you say, but how you say it. Based on what you said and how you acted, you might have come across as bossy. Still, if you're ready to threaten divorce over a bikini, I think there are bigger problems at play here. Good luck with that for more than 5 years. Garrett Barrett tells her, I understand your insecurity. As your spouse, I have a straight-up smoke show too still. My wife is the best friend I have in the world, and I would give up my life for her. We share the same views, so she wouldn't be able to wear anything I didn't like. Instead, we'd talk about it alone and say what we thought in a soft voice. I would gladly put aside how I feel if it makes her feel better. When you say you might get a divorce, do you really mean it? Or is it just a way to get what you want? It makes me smile because it's so sweet. You are acting too badly because you are a man-child. Awkward Fortune Cookie says that you shouldn't threaten to get a divorce until you're really ready to do it. Trust me. Everyone saw if her butthole was obvious. As Natural Goblin Yiddig said, she probably wasn't bending down and stretching her cheeks for everyone, so no one could really see her butthole. It's buried in the cheek fat if you have a nice behind like the op says his wife does. What the hell? Fuck my behind. Still, isn't it caked up? And for the star to shine, you need to do more than just bend over. To show, if you get what I mean. Glow like a butthole in the dark. Dyer says that he almost threatened to leave her, but he didn't. He said that other people had brought it up in a previous conversation, and he thought it was mean. People need to learn how to read. The bottom of her bikini is so small that it's ripping off and sliding off. Should he tell her she looks great? He should act like he doesn't feel anything to spare her feelings. The work isn't being done together. It's not a beach with random people, it's a friend's house pool party. In the people I know, that choice would seem pretty odd. It's ignorant and almost cruel to put him down in the friend group. You don't bring other people into your relationship to talk about problems with him. Blueberry says, I must be a silly old lady, I'm reading a lot of comments here. I could not even come close to what Op's wife did. I can't picture myself going to a party where my goal is for everyone to see me in my underwear, let alone my friends or coworkers. The idea that being naked isn't a big deal these days seems to have spread. However, I would like to be told before I leave if I see someone I know who is naked. It's possible that Op forgot to make sure that he and his partner were equal in that way before they got married. She should feel free to show off her body. It's over if she doesn't care about his ideas about modesty and he can't handle it. He needs to decide if he can live with someone who shows their body in public and might not stop. And the comments on this one went back and forth a lot. What do you guys think about this case? Please tell me what you think about that party. Does it bother you in any way? Not at all. You don't even care about anything when you go to these events. Tell us what you think in the area below for comments. Let me first say how grateful I am that you came today, took part in the stories, and gave your time. I'm so grateful for your love and help. Thank you so much for taking part, it means a lot to me. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Many thanks and hugs.